The Empire's mockery. In the vast reaches of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire was a mighty force. Their ships were enormous, their technology unmatched, and their rule was feared by many. The Empire had conquered countless worlds, and their power seemed unstoppable. To them, Earth was nothing more than a small, insignificant dot in the universe. On Earth, life was different. The planet was home to billions of people who struggled with their own challenges. Nations fought over resources, and the environment was in trouble. But even in these tough times, the people of Earth held on to hope. They dreamed of a better future and believed in their ability to make a difference. One day, the Empire's leaders gathered in their Grand Command Center. This was a place of high technology and grand architecture, where decisions that shaped the galaxy were made. The leaders were dressed in their dark uniforms, their faces stern and serious. They were discussing their next moves in their quest for galactic dominance. "Earth is nothing but a tiny planet," said one of the Empire's top generals. "They have some technology, but it's primitive compared to ours. Why are we even wasting time on them?" The other leaders nodded in agreement. They had long dismissed Earth as a minor player in their grand plans. To them, Earth's technology was outdated, and its people were just a small, insignificant force in the galaxy. They believed that their advanced weapons and ships could easily handle any threat from the small planet. On Earth, a group of scientists and engineers worked in secret. They had been researching and developing new technologies, hoping to improve their world. They knew that their advancements were small compared to the Empire's, but they were determined to make a difference. One evening, as the sun set and darkness covered the city, a team of scientists made a groundbreaking discovery. While exploring old records and ancient ruins, they found evidence of an ancient fleet hidden deep underground. This fleet was from a time long before the Galactic Empire rose to power. It was an advanced fleet capable of incredible feats. The scientists were thrilled. They knew this discovery could change everything. But they also knew that the Empire would not take kindly to a challenge from a small, unknown world. They had to keep their discovery a secret until they were ready. As the Empire's leaders continued their meeting, they received reports from their scouts. The scouts had observed some unusual activities on Earth, but dismissed them as insignificant. The Empire's leaders were confident that their plan to expand their control would go smoothly. "Prepare the next phase of our expansion," ordered the Empire's supreme commander. "We will take over the nearby systems and secure our grip on the galaxy. Earth will be no trouble at all." The Empire's leaders laughed among themselves, their laughter echoing through the command center. They were so sure of their power that they didn't even consider the possibility of a real threat from Earth. Their overconfidence was clear, and they had no idea that their mockery of Earth's capabilities would soon come back to haunt them. Meanwhile, back on Earth, the team of scientists worked day and night to restore the ancient fleet. They carefully studied the old technology, repaired damaged systems, and tested their equipment. Every step was a challenge, but their determination was strong. They believed that this fleet could be the key to changing the balance of power in the galaxy. As the weeks passed, the ancient fleet slowly began to take shape. The scientists and engineers were excited but cautious. They knew that revealing their discovery too soon could lead to disaster. They had to make sure everything was perfect before they made their move. The Empire, oblivious to the growing threat, continued with its plans. They were busy preparing for new conquests and were completely focused on their goal of galactic domination. Their leaders remained confident and dismissive of Earth, believing that their victory was already assured. One day, the Empire received more reports from their scouts about the ongoing activities on Earth. Still, they remained uninterested. "Let them play with their old technology," one of the Empire's officials said. "It will not make a difference in the end. We are destined to rule the galaxy." But as the scientists on Earth put the final touches on the ancient fleet, they knew that the time was coming. They were ready to show the Empire that Earth was not as powerless as they had believed. The fleet was almost ready, and the scientists were filled with a mix of excitement and fear. The Empire's leaders, in their Grand Command Center, continued their plans for expansion. They had no idea that their dismissive attitude towards Earth would soon be challenged. Their mockery was about to turn into a harsh reality. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change the galaxy forever. The tiny planet that the Empire had laughed at was preparing to reveal a power they had underestimated. And as the Empire's leaders looked forward to their next conquest, they were completely unaware of the storm that was brewing just beyond their reach. A hidden treasure. The sun rose over the city, casting a warm glow on the bustling streets below. People went about their daily routines, unaware of the extraordinary discovery being made beneath their feet. In a secure underground facility, a team of scientists and engineers worked tirelessly. They had uncovered an ancient fleet that could change the fate of their world. Dr. Emily Carter, the lead scientist, peered through her glasses at the control panel. Her heart raced with excitement. The ancient fleet, buried for centuries, was slowly coming back to life. She couldn't believe how advanced the technology was, even though it was old. The fleet's design was impressive, with sleek lines and powerful engines. "Are you sure this will work?" asked Jacob, one of the engineers. His hands trembled slightly as he worked on the ancient machinery. Dr. Carter nodded, her face set in determination. "We've checked everything. The technology might be old, but it's still functional. We need to be careful, though. If the Galactic Empire finds out about this, they could come here and take it from us." The team worked in shifts, repairing and testing each part of the fleet. They had to be cautious. The ancient ships had been hidden for a reason. They were powerful, and if used correctly, they could make a difference against the Empire. The scientists knew they had to act quickly, but they also knew they couldn't rush the process. In the quiet of the facility, Dr. Carter and her team talked about the implications of their discovery. The ancient fleet was not just a collection of old ships. It was a symbol of a time when Earth was much more powerful. The fleet's technology was advanced for its time, and it could give humanity the edge it needed to stand up to the Empire. The team was excited but also nervous. They had to keep their work secret from the outside world. The Empire's scouts had already reported strange activities, but they had dismissed them as insignificant. The scientists knew that the Empire's leaders were overconfident and underestimated Earth's capabilities. Meanwhile, in the Empire's Grand Command Center, the leaders continued their plans for expansion. They were busy preparing for their next conquest, believing that Earth was nothing more than a minor concern. They had no idea that their mockery was about to be challenged. Back on Earth, the work on the ancient fleet continued. The scientists had uncovered several functional ships, each with its own unique features. The ships were equipped with powerful weapons and advanced propulsion systems. The scientists were amazed at how well preserved the technology was. Dr. Carter called a meeting with her team. "We need to start planning our next steps," she said. "We can't keep this a secret forever. We need to be ready to use the fleet when the time comes." The team agreed. They started developing strategies for how to use the fleet against the Empire. They knew that a direct confrontation would be risky, but they also knew that they had to be prepared. The fleet was their chance to prove that Earth was not as weak as the Empire thought. As the days passed, the scientists made more progress. They managed to restore the communication systems and navigation controls. The ships were almost ready for a test flight. The excitement in the facility was palpable. The team knew that their hard work was about to pay off. One night, as the team worked late into the evening, Dr. Carter received an urgent message. It was from a trusted informant who had overheard Empire officials discussing their plans. The message revealed that the Empire was preparing for a major expansion and had dismissed Earth as a threat. Dr. Carter shared the information with her team. "This is our chance," she said. "We need to act quickly. If the Empire is expanding and underestimating us, we have an opportunity to strike when they least expect it." The team agreed and began making final preparations. They conducted a series of tests to ensure that the fleet was fully operational. Each test was crucial, as the success of their mission depended on the fleet's performance. One morning, as the scientists prepared for another day of work, they heard a loud noise from above. The facility shook and dust fell from the ceiling. The team looked at each other in alarm. Was the Empire's scouts getting closer? Were they in danger of being discovered? Dr. Carter quickly checked the facility's security systems. There were no signs of an immediate threat, but they had to be careful. The team went back to work, their focus sharper than ever. They knew that their discovery could change everything, but they also knew that they had to be prepared for any eventuality. As the fleet neared completion, the team began planning how to reveal their discovery to the world. They knew that the Galactic Empire would not take kindly to their newfound power. They had to be ready for whatever came next. The ancient fleet was not just a hidden treasure. It was a symbol of Earth's resilience and potential. The scientists and engineers who had worked so hard to uncover and restore it were about to face a challenge like no other. The Empire's mockery was about to turn into a harsh reality. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown. The tiny planet that the Empire had dismissed as insignificant was preparing to reveal a power that could change the galaxy. The hidden treasure was ready, and Earth's chance to stand up to the Empire was drawing near. The Empire's overconfidence. In the heart of the Galactic Empire's command center, the leaders gathered once more. The room was filled with high-tech screens and futuristic equipment. The walls were adorned with banners celebrating the Empire's victories. The leaders, dressed in their formal uniforms, discussed their plans with confidence and pride. Supreme Commander Zarek stood at the head of the table, his gaze sweeping over the other officials. "Our next phase of expansion begins today," he announced. "We will secure the nearby systems and ensure that no one dares to challenge our authority." The officials around him nodded in agreement. Their faces were set in determined expressions. They had always succeeded in their conquests, and they saw no reason why Earth would be any different. To them, Earth was a small, insignificant planet with outdated technology. "Earth has been a minor concern," said General Iona, a key military strategist. "Our scouts have reported some unusual activities, but nothing of real importance. We have nothing to worry about." "We are far superior," the other leaders murmured in agreement. They were so certain of their superiority that they barely gave Earth a second thought. Their confidence was fueled by their advanced technology and their long history of victories. They believed that their next conquest would be as easy as all the others. On Earth, the team of scientists and engineers was making great progress with the ancient fleet. They had restored several ships to full functionality and were preparing for their first test flight. They knew that their efforts could be a game changer, but they had to remain cautious. They couldn't afford any mistakes. Dr. Emily Carter, the leader of the team, was busy reviewing the final preparations for the fleet's test. She was excited but also anxious. The fleet was a powerful tool, but using it effectively required careful planning. The scientists and engineers worked around the clock, making sure everything was ready for the upcoming challenges. As the Empire's plans for expansion moved forward, they sent scouts to monitor the situation on Earth. The scouts reported back with details about the ongoing activities, but the Empire's leaders dismissed these reports. "It's probably just Earth's last-ditch effort to save face," one official said. "They are no threat to us." The Empire's leaders were so absorbed in their preparations for new conquests that they paid little attention to the potential threat from Earth. Their arrogance blinded them to the reality of the situation. They had underestimated the resilience and ingenuity of humanity. The Empire's command center was abuzz with activity as they prepared their fleets for the next phase of their plan. The leaders were eager to expand their control over new systems, believing that Earth would fall easily. They had already started making arrangements for their new territories, confident that their victory was assured. On Earth, the team was ready to put the ancient fleet to the test. They conducted a series of simulations to ensure that the fleet systems were working properly. The tests went smoothly and the scientists were hopeful. They were getting closer to revealing their hidden power. Dr. Carter gathered her team for a briefing. "We are almost ready," she said. "We need to be prepared for whatever comes next. The Empire is powerful, but we have something they don't expect. We must use this advantage wisely." The team agreed and their focus sharpened. They knew that the fleet could make a significant difference, but they also knew that the Empire would not be easy to defeat. They had to be strategic and use their newfound power effectively. As the Empire continued its preparations, they remained oblivious to the growing threat from Earth. Their overconfidence was their biggest weakness. They believed that their technology and military strength were unbeatable, and they underestimated the potential of the ancient fleet. One day, the Empire's leaders held a celebration to mark the beginning of their next expansion phase. The atmosphere in the command center was festive, with decorations and celebratory speeches. The leaders were eager to move forward and expand their control. "We will show the galaxy that our power is unmatched," Supreme Commander Zarek declared. "No one will dare to oppose us. Earth will be just another victory in our list of conquests." The celebration continued, and the leaders reveled in their perceived superiority. They were so caught up in their own success that they failed to see the danger approaching from an unexpected source. Their overconfidence had blinded them to the true potential of the hidden fleet on Earth. Meanwhile, the team of scientists and engineers on Earth completed the final preparations for the fleet's first mission. They were ready to test their technology against the Empire's forces. They knew that the stakes were high, and they had to be ready for anything. As the Empire's new phase of expansion began, their fleets set out to secure new territories. They were confident and determined, believing that their path to victory was clear. The leaders were certain that their success was inevitable. Back on Earth, the team watched as the ancient fleet prepared for its first operation. The scientists and engineers were filled with anticipation and nervousness. They knew that this was their chance to prove that Earth was not as weak as the Empire believed. The stage was set for a confrontation. The Empire's overconfidence had created a false sense of security, and they were about to face a challenge they had not anticipated. The hidden treasure of Earth was ready to make its mark, and the Galactic Empire's arrogance was about to be put to the test. Revealing the fleet, the ancient fleet was ready. After weeks of intense work, the scientists and engineers on Earth had completed the restoration. Dr. Emily Carter looked at the fleet with pride and anticipation. The time had come to show the Galactic Empire that Earth was not as powerless as they had believed. The fleet consisted of several sleek, powerful ships, each equipped with advanced technology. The scientists had spent countless hours ensuring that every system was functioning perfectly. Now it was time for the fleet's first test flight. In the early hours of the morning, while the city slept, the fleet's engines roared to life. The ancient ships lifted off the ground, their powerful thrusters propelling them into the sky. The scientists watched from their control center, their faces illuminated by the glow of the monitors. Dr. Carter gave the signal, and the fleet began its ascent. The ships climbed higher and higher, breaking through the atmosphere and into the void of space. The scientists monitored every detail, making sure everything was operating smoothly. As the fleet left Earth's atmosphere, the scientists began the first round of tests. The ship's weapon systems were activated, and the fleet's advanced sensors scanned the space around them. The tests went smoothly, and the fleet's capabilities exceeded expectations. Meanwhile, back in the Galactic Empire's command center, the leaders were busy with their expansion plans. They were confident that their latest conquests would proceed without any issues. The Empire's scouts had reported that Earth's activities were inconsequential, and the leaders continued to dismiss any potential threat. Supreme Commander Zarek and his officers were gathered around a large display screen, which showed various star systems and military movements. "We are making excellent progress," Zarek said with a satisfied smile. "Our new territories will soon be under our control. Earth will be just another easy victory." The Empire's leaders were so absorbed in their plans that they paid little attention to the reports coming in from their scouts about unusual activities on Earth. They were too confident in their... Back on Earth, the fleet's test flight was going exceptionally well. The ships performed maneuvers that demonstrated their agility and power. Dr. Carter and her team were thrilled. They knew that the fleet was not only functional, but also a formidable force. Dr. Carter gathered her team for a quick briefing. "We've done it," she said, her voice filled with excitement. "The fleet is ready. Now it's time to make our move. We need to show the Empire what we're capable of." The team agreed and began making final preparations for the fleet's first operation. They had been working on strategies for months, and now it was time to put their plans into action. They knew that their actions would have a significant impact, and they were determined to make the most of this opportunity. As the fleet prepared for its first mission, the scientists and engineers worked with precision. They coordinated their efforts to ensure that everything went according to plan. The operation was carefully timed to catch the Empire off guard. The fleet left Earth's orbit and set course for a nearby star system that the Empire had recently taken over. The ships moved silently through space, their advanced stealth technology making them nearly invisible to the Empire's sensors. The scientists had planned this mission to demonstrate the fleet's capabilities and send a clear message to the Empire. As the fleet approached the target system, the scientists monitored the Empire's military activities. The Empire's ships were scattered and unprepared for an unexpected attack. The fleet's stealth technology allowed it to get close without being detected. Dr. Carter and her team watched with bated breath as the fleet initiated its first engagement. The ancient ships fired their weapons with precision, targeting key structures in the Empire's newly occupied system. The Empire's forces were caught off guard, and chaos erupted as they scrambled to respond. The fleet's attack was swift and effective. The Empire's defenses were overwhelmed, and the fleet's firepower proved to be formidable. The scientists and engineers cheered as they watched the success of their mission. They had shown the Empire that Earth was not to be underestimated. Back in the Galactic Empire's command center, the leaders were stunned by the reports coming in from their scouts. The once-dismissed planet Earth had launched a surprise attack, and the Empire's forces were struggling to respond. The leaders could hardly believe what they were seeing. "What is this?" Supreme Commander Zarek exclaimed. "How could Earth's fleet be so powerful? We were told they were no threat." The Empire's leaders were in disbelief. Their overconfidence had blinded them to the reality of Earth's capabilities. They had underestimated the ancient fleet and were now facing a serious challenge. As the fleet's mission continued, the Empire's forces scrambled to regroup and counter the attack. The once dominant power of the Galactic Empire was now facing a serious threat from a source they had mocked and underestimated. Dr. Carter and her team watched from their control center, knowing that their success was just the beginning. They had proven that Earth's hidden treasure was a force to be reckoned with. The stage was set for a new chapter in the struggle between Earth and the Galactic Empire. The confrontation had begun, and the Empire's overconfidence had been shattered. The ancient fleet was no longer a hidden secret. It was now a powerful symbol of Earth's strength and resilience, ready to face the challenges ahead. The Empire's surprise. The Galactic Empire's command center was in turmoil. Supreme Commander Zarek paced back and forth, his mind racing with thoughts of the unexpected attack from Earth. The reports were clear. Earth's ancient fleet had struck with surprising strength, and the Empire's forces were struggling to respond. "Focus, everyone," Zarek shouted. "We need answers. How did this happen? How could a planet we dismissed as insignificant have such advanced technology?" General Iona and the other high-ranking officials exchanged worried glances. The Empire's military had always been unbeatable, and the sudden challenge from Earth was both shocking and troubling. They were not used to being caught off guard, especially by a planet they considered primitive. "We need to assess the damage and understand what we're dealing with," General Iona said firmly. "Prepare reconnaissance ships immediately. We need detailed information about Earth's fleet and their capabilities." The command center bustled with activity as the Empire's officials scrambled to respond. Reconnaissance ships were quickly dispatched to gather intelligence on the ancient fleet and the extent of the damage caused by the surprise attack. The leaders were determined to regain control of the situation. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Emily Carter and her team celebrated their successful operation. The fleet had achieved its objective and demonstrated its power. The scientists and engineers were excited but knew that this was only the beginning. The real challenge was yet to come. Dr. Carter gathered her team for a briefing. "We've made a strong first impression," she said. "The Empire was clearly surprised by our capabilities. Now we need to stay vigilant. They'll come at us with everything they have." The team agreed and began preparing for potential counterattacks. They knew that the Empire would not take the surprise attack lightly. The ancient fleet was ready, but they needed to be strategic in their approach. The success of their mission had raised the stakes, and they were prepared for the Empire's retaliation. As the reconnaissance ships approached Earth, the Empire's leaders anxiously awaited their reports. The screens in the command center flickered with images of the damaged facilities and chaotic scenes from the recent attack. The damage was extensive, and the Empire's forces were struggling to regain control. "What do we know about their fleet?" Zarek demanded. "Are they using any technology we haven't seen before?" One of the officers at the control panel spoke up. "The preliminary reports indicate that Earth's fleet has advanced weaponry and stealth technology. It appears to be far more sophisticated than we anticipated. The Empire's leaders were taken aback. Their intelligence had underestimated Earth's technological advancements, and the surprise attack had exposed a significant oversight. They had believed that their dominance was unchallenged, but now they were facing an unexpected and formidable opponent. "We need to adapt our strategy," Zarek said, his voice tense. "Prepare our fleets for a counteroffensive. We can't let Earth think they have the upper hand." The command center was a hive of activity as the Empire's forces prepared for their next move. The leaders were determined to regain control and show that the Galactic Empire was still the dominant power in the galaxy. They could not afford to be seen as weak, especially after the surprise attack. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter and her team continued their preparations. They knew that the Empire would not be easily defeated, and they had to be ready for whatever came next. The ancient fleet had proven its capabilities, but they needed to stay one step ahead of the Empire's response. The scientists and engineers worked around the clock to enhance the fleet's systems and develop new strategies. They were determined to use their advantage wisely and make the most of the surprise they had created. As the Empire's fleets prepared for their counteroffensive, the reconnaissance ships reported back with detailed information. The Empire's leaders were shocked by the extent of Earth's technological advancements and the effectiveness of their fleet. They realized that their previous assumptions had been misguided. "We underestimated them," General Iona admitted. "Earth's fleet is more powerful than we thought. We need to rethink our approach." The Empire's leaders convened an emergency meeting to discuss their strategy. They knew that their initial overconfidence had been a mistake, and they had to adjust their plans to address the new reality. The surprise attack had shaken their confidence, but they were determined to recover. "We cannot allow Earth to gain further momentum," Zarek said. "We need to show our strength and ensure that their surprise attack does not go unanswered. Prepare our forces for a decisive strike." The command center buzzed with renewed energy as the Empire's military leaders prepared for their next move. The stakes were high, and the leaders were determined to prove that the Galactic Empire was still the supreme power in the galaxy. Meanwhile, Dr. Carter and her team were fully aware of the Empire's preparations. They knew that the counteroffensive was imminent and that they had to be ready for a fierce battle. The ancient fleet had given them a significant advantage, but the real test was how they would handle the Empire's response. The surprise attack had shifted the balance of power, but it was only the beginning of a larger struggle. The Galactic Empire's leaders were determined to regain control, while Earth's scientists and engineers were ready to defend their newfound strength. As the two sides prepared for the next phase of the conflict, the galaxy watched with bated breath. The unexpected challenge from Earth had turned the tables and set the stage for an epic showdown between the Galactic Empire and a planet they had long dismissed as insignificant. The surprise had set the galaxy on a new course, and the outcome was far from certain. Turning the tide, the Galactic Empire was on high alert. After the surprise attack from Earth, Supreme Commander Zarek and his officers were determined to take back control. Their previous overconfidence had been shattered, and they were now focused on regaining their dominance. The Empire's forces were mobilizing for a counteroffensive, and the command center buzzed with activity. "We have to show that Earth's surprise attack was just a fluke," Zarek declared to his officers. "Our fleets are ready. We'll hit them hard and fast, and this time, they won't get the upper hand." General Iona nodded, her face set in a serious expression. "We've gathered all the intelligence we need. We know Earth's fleet's strengths and weaknesses. We'll use this information to plan our attack. The Empire's fleets prepared for a decisive strike against Earth." Reconnaissance ships had provided detailed data on the ancient fleet's capabilities, and the Empire's military strategists had developed a plan to exploit the fleet's vulnerabilities. The counteroffensive was ready to launch. Meanwhile, on Earth, Dr. Emily Carter and her team were hard at work. They had anticipated the Empire's response and were preparing to defend against the impending counterattack. The ancient fleet had proven its power, but now it was time to put their strategies to the test. Dr. Carter gathered her team for a strategy meeting. "The Empire is mobilizing for a major counterattack," she said. "We need to be prepared for anything. Let's review our plans and make sure we're ready for their next move." The team reviewed their strategies and made final adjustments. They had learned from their previous success and were determined to use their advantage wisely. The ancient fleet was their strongest asset, and they needed to ensure it was used effectively. As the Empire's fleets set out for Earth, the command center was filled with a sense of urgency. The leaders were eager to regain control and prove their dominance. They had underestimated Earth once, and they were not going to let it happen again. The Empire's ships approached Earth's orbit, their weapons systems primed for action. The fleets were massive and powerful, designed to overwhelm any opponent. The commanders issued their orders, and the fleets moved into position for the attack. Back on Earth, Dr. Carter and her team watched the approach of the Empire's fleets with determination. The ancient fleet was ready, and the scientists and engineers were prepared for the battle ahead. They had worked tirelessly to ensure that their defenses were strong and that their strategies were sound. The battle began as the Empire's fleets launched their assault on Earth. The skies lit up with flashes of energy as the two sides clashed. The Empire's advanced technology was formidable, but the ancient fleet's power was not to be underestimated. Dr. Carter monitored the battle from the control center, her eyes fixed on the screens. The ancient fleet engaged the Empire's forces with precision, using its advanced weaponry and stealth technology to its advantage. The Empire's ships struggled to adapt to the unexpected resistance. The battle was intense, with both sides exchanging powerful blows. The Empire's fleets had the advantage in numbers, but Earth's fleet had superior technology and tactics. The clash was a test of strength and strategy, and the outcome was uncertain. As the battle raged on, Dr. Carter and her team coordinated their efforts to maximize the fleet's effectiveness. They used their knowledge of the Empire's weaknesses to launch targeted strikes, hitting critical systems and causing disruption within the Empire's ranks. The Empire's commanders were frustrated as they struggled to regain control. Their initial confidence was replaced by frustration as they faced a determined and resourceful opponent. The tide of the battle began to turn in Earth's favor. Supreme Commander Zarek watched the battle unfold with growing concern. The reports from his officers indicated that the Empire's forces were not achieving the expected results. Earth's fleet was holding its ground and pushing back against the Empire's attack. "This is not going as planned," Zarek said, his voice tense. "We need to adjust our strategy, find out what's causing the resistance, and neutralize it." The Empire's forces adapted their tactics, focusing on countering Earth's advanced technology and trying to break through the fleet's defenses. The battle became a test of endurance and adaptability as both sides fought for control. On Earth, Dr. Carter and her team continued to press their advantage. The ancient fleet's superior technology and strategic planning were proving to be effective. The Empire's forces were being pushed back and Earth's defenders gained confidence. The battle was a turning point. Earth's fleet had proven that it could hold its own against the Empire's powerful forces. The Empire's overconfidence had been replaced by uncertainty, and the balance of power was shifting. As the Empire's fleets withdrew to regroup, the command center was filled with a sense of relief and triumph. Dr. Carter and her team had successfully defended against the Empire's counteroffensive and turned the tide of the battle. "We did it," Dr. Carter said, her voice filled with satisfaction. "We held our ground and pushed them back. But we can't rest yet. We need to be ready for whatever comes next." The team agreed, knowing that the conflict was far from over. The battle had shown that Earth was a force to be reckoned with, but the Empire would not give up easily. The struggle was far from finished, and both sides were preparing for the next phase of the conflict. The galaxy watched as the battle between Earth and the Galactic Empire continued. The surprise had been turned into a decisive moment, and the outcome of the struggle remained uncertain. The tide had shifted, but the final victory was still to be determined.